So the first item on the agenda is board and leadership communication. Who would like to go first of the commissioners?
I'll go first because I don't really have all that much. I just wanted to know, thank you for the great programming again, West Economic Alliance, hearing from Josh Lerner on the state economist, where things are. As best as we can tell, it's kind of a murky crystal ball, but I enjoyed the program. It was good. Thank you. Just a note, I'll be attending the board meeting tonight of the Five Oaks Museum. And I know we've got some upcoming events with respect to AOC District 8. That's about it. Nice, short, to the point, well done, well-chaired legislative appointment last.
Anything else?
I don't think this is on.
Oh, your light's just red, that's all.
Oh, that means don't speak. Okay. Yesterday was WCCC. That was virtual again. Talked a little bit about the emergency routes and event that bridges fail. There isn't really a proposal to do a lot, but chatted about that. Chatted about 2001, which had the bill, which had the what do you call that, middle housing, and how that might apply. And it was just a DLCD update, so that was interesting. Tomorrow I'll be in Tualatin to say a few words, as Jerry, you did in Hillsborough, and I think Pam, you and Dick did in Beaverton, so I'll be in Tualatin tomorrow.
Great. Anything else from any other commissioners?
Yeah, I will be at Adelante tomorrow for their ribbon cutting for the BRCs as well, so
Yep.
That's good. That's all I have.
Good morning. I attended my first CPO meeting by Zoom last week, and that was an interesting experience, but really a good one. It was great to be able to be back in contact again, so I enjoyed that. That was CPO 1. I also attended the Policy Advisory Board meeting and the Public Health Advisory Council. So it was, you can be two places at once with Zoom. You know, it's really kind of interesting. At least you can be closer than you ever could be before. So I managed to attend the CPO meeting and the PA and the Public Health Advisory meeting at the same night. So it was just a matter of going, see ya and hello. So pretty amazing. So and
So
Catherine,
not at the same time, just concurrently.
well, almost. There's a little overlap there. So, and Catherine, I assume you're going to talk about the meeting on Friday.
This past Friday? or-
Yes.
Oh, sure.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep, last week I participated in the quarterly special districts meeting, and there was a lot of discussion about how operations have gone under COVID. Our meeting in the first quarter of the year would have been in March, but due to all the then nascent COVID activities, we canceled that meeting. So there was catching up to do and a lot of good learnings back and forth. I've had 2 videos recorded for virtual groundbreaking of affordable housing projects that Washington County is supporting. One in the Tiger Triangle, and then the other is actually in the city of Beaverton, and then also a virtual TVC TV recording for a new edition of County Talk with Eric Schmidt. On Friday, Commissioner Therese and I were invited to participate in a limited meeting with various elected officials at the state and county levels with various Black leaders in our community to discuss potential legislative improvements moving forward. I don't know if there's, nothing's there was information sharing and looking at what discussion of some of the current challenges and potential opportunities. There supposedly is a series of meetings planned in the future. I haven't seen them for my calendar at all. And I know this upcoming Friday, we wouldn't be able to attend with the CAO interviews. So, and then it's July 3rd is the following Friday, so not sure what's going on there.
Thank you.
Okay, leadership.
I don't have anything other than to call your attention to the spreadsheet that I passed out. We actually emailed that to the board yesterday, which lists activities regarding equity in the organization. We tried to capture what's happening now or has been done, what's short-term accomplishment, and then long-term. And that was provided for information for the board.
Catherine, if I could ask Steve a question. Could you turn your mic off? Thank you. We've been getting a lot of emails from constituents, basically form emails. How are we responding or not to those? At some point in time, we're going to need to have a conversation about the content of those emails and exactly what I think most of us are hearing out from the public. So what's the CAO's office doing in regards to all of those emails?
Well, we give you a weekly report, but we put together a response that's provided to the emails.
So even though it's a standard email, you just fill in the blanks and everybody gets the standard email back? Is that what we're doing with it?
No, it's...
No, Julie customizes it per the concerns.
Well, we're getting so many of them that obviously I'm not reading them because you only have to read the first one. But I was just wondering if there was something that we're doing, or is it just we're just treating them just like normal emails, and at some point in time, this group will have to have some conversation about that, I guess.
Yeah, we do them as regular constituent response. So there's a response written to each one.
Okay, thank you very much.
Madam Chair, members of the board, yesterday I sent out an email requesting one of you to volunteer to sit on a panel with our class counsel on the Lynn County versus State Forest Trust Lands case. And I was hoping to get a volunteer for that, and at that point I'd send out a doodle poll, and then we would get a confidential meeting with our class counsel. So.
Do you know what that's going to entail, Alan?
No, they didn't put any agenda for that requested meeting. I imagine it's going to be discussions of settlement is what I would predict.
Well, considering that I have most of the forest land in my district, but Dick attended and has the history of it.
And Dick's also our representative to CFTL.
Right.
Yeah, so I'd be happy to.
Okay, if that's the will of the board, I will send the
Way to
request
take
out.
the lead, Dick. I appreciate that.
I'll send that request out to you, Dick. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Good morning. Diane Taniguchi-Dennis is out today. I'll be sitting in. I want to call your attention to the Privy Council, which mentions a sort of soft opening of the administrative offices to the public. Mr. Jockers, would you like to describe any more of it, or? We want to make sure the public knows what our expectations might be to keep everybody safe.
So we are following, similar to Washington County's lead, we have a soft opening beginning tomorrow, which our lobby will be open to the public. Similar to LUT, we'll ask people to sign in. We're requesting that they do wear face coverings. And also we're encouraging people to continue to call in advance. Our preference remains to do this virtually. We have done that pretty successfully in terms of online and via phone and via email, but we are starting to open up the building to allow people to come in as well. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. And now we'll move on to formal agenda item discussion. Does anyone have any questions with regard to items on the formal agenda?
I have a question on item N, on page 125. I don't see the sheriff, so.
The Urban Areas Security Initiative.
Pretty simple one. Maybe we can just pull it and we can put it back on if I can get an answer between now and the meeting.
Well, let's see what the topic is. Oh, this is a UASI grant. Oh, this is funding for the special teams and equipment.
So, Madam Chair, we have John Steyer on the phone that could possibly answer Commissioner Rogers' question.
Great. Let me tell you what it is. With the defunding of some of the, I think it's a CERT team plus a couple of other teams there in Portland, is there going to be any redistribution of funds, or how is that going to impact these dollars and how they'll be spent? So I have no issue with the dollars, and I have no issue with the grant and initiative, but I'm just wondering what's going to happen. It's not clear to me.
So I think your thinking is that if the city of Portland no longer has those teams for funding, that there might be more funding that can come to Washington County.
You are a lot more blunt. I was trying, but that's exactly right. Yeah,
Okay.
That's exactly right.
So it would be sufficient for us to move forward with this current estimate of funding as outlined, and then if there's additional funding, we could adjust from there?
I don't know, since they're the ones who are coordinating the grants for the area. I'm not sure how that works.
It's my understanding that the UASI grants go through RDPO.
That's correct.
I don't know if I'm on. This is John Steyer from the Sheriff's Office. But that's correct. And I know the EOC director has been involved as well. So if there's any changes to funding, that'll go through the EOC director. Through us, we kind of operate as the fiscal agent for the grant.
Okay, if there is more money, will we decide how that was redistributed, meaning collectively, or will that simply go back to the feds? Or how? I'm just concerned money's going to be lost.
Right. No, it's a great question. I can raise that with Portland and also talk with the EOC director to find out.
Okay, that's all I have. Thanks.
I guess it also sort of raises the question about the nature of the purchases and so forth. I mean, for sort of civilian responses to recovery with respect to emergencies is one thing. There has been, of course, a lot of concerns for quite a while, and most recently with respect to sort of the militarization of police departments. I don't know just offhand where this funding would be going to, whether here or in Portland or in Clackamas County with respect to that kind of equipment.
Well, the last paragraph is specific to how the funding would be used in Washington County and in the cities of Washington County.
I'd like to dig a little deeper, maybe, kind of see just what that would be, if we're going to be. It's something to sort of take a second look at.
So are you asking to pull this item on the agenda or to move forward with this agenda item and get additional detail?
I think the latter, yeah.
Commissioner Rogers?
Yeah, I think my question's been answered. I just didn't, as the chair indicated, is there additional dollars? I was dancing around that, but that's really what it is. I was hoping we might be able to pick up some more money, but if Commissioner Scouten wants to pull it off, I'm happy to do that as well.
No, he's advocating for moving forward and getting more information.
Is that what you were saying?
And then the
Yes.
city of Portland
okay,
has
I'm fine.
proposals
Right.
on the table, but they've not yet, as I understand it, they've not yet completed their budget work to enact all the proposals.
Then I'm fine with leaving it on the agenda.
Okay.
Consent.
Do commissioners have any other items on the formal agenda? I have a couple. This Friday is June 19th, also known as Juneteenth, and I would like to read a statement with regard to that. I asked our Chief Administrative Officer what might be the best place to do that. Since we don't have any proclamations on the agenda, it might be most appropriate to do that. It's just a statement of recognition on Juneteenth. I didn't want to surprise you on camera, so I figured I'd bring it up now.
Thank you. I'd also just like to point out, I believe that Multnomah County did authorize a holiday for June 19th.
Yes,
Or
they did.
Juneteenth, I'm sorry. Was my understanding, and so did Nike, just out of information.
Yep. The other thing I wanted to share is last week we talked about the body-worn cameras and gave direction to our staff to move forward to include that within the budget. So we have an item in our packet for that. The order for that action has been advanced to be in the front end of the budget. So I wanted to highlight that, but also to let you know that I've had, in this very short time, since I first requested information from our staff on the week of Memorial Day on Thursday, May 28th to now, very short order, I had the opportunity to talk with a couple of different groups from communities of color, but not the full spectrum. And what I got from the conversation is there are mixed thoughts about body-worn camera, not that folks don't want to see it, but rather would like to see a bit more conversation about it. So what I'd like to do is have us move forward with the appropriation as we have in our packet, but have the full authorization, the full approval of do the appropriation, have the authorization come back no later than the end of the first quarter of the fiscal year. So that will send a signal to our community-based partners that, yep, we're going to talk, make sure we're all on the same page. So we'll hopefully, through the result of that conversation, this board will continue to be all thumbs up, but it will give us the chance to have those important conversations rather than rush it. So.
Yeah, I'm all for that. I think there might, last week I spoke to that issue, and I have been enthusiastic about the cameras initially, but I still have some concerns about the focus points, and I know Alan and I were spending a bit of time on the legal aspects of that. You only see what you see, and from the angle you see it, and so I hope that a more robust discussion would flush out maybe any issues that might be deficiencies in that. And what was you, Alan, I don't know if you want to chime in, but you were telling me of an exercise you guys did, and it certainly pointed to different results depending upon the angles you were at, so. I think
Commissioner Rogers, members of the board, actually Elmer in my office did a presentation that he took around the state and had a video that you demonstrated what the problem was. And it's a problem that's been shown throughout the nation with the narrow angle that a video camera can capture. It can, with the demonstration he showed, it looked like the officer had just went out and killed the person, whereas if you actually had a different angle, you'd see the guy was reaching for a gun in his pocket, and you could see the gun coming out. So there can be problems with the video cameras, and it's a well-recognized problems with the police forces across the nation, and so it's just one of the risks that we've have to consider.
The point that I'm making is that we would have a conversation with particularly our historically disadvantaged community members. So not to revisit, do we fund body-worn cameras?
I'd just like to add that I think while we were all well-intentioned moving forward with this, there is a saying in our communities larger that nothing for us without us. And I believe that we need to have some more of those conversations at the same time. But I support the appropriation of the funding. I support the direction. But I do think that there may need to be some policy review and that type of thing into the future.
Those are the two things I wanted to share with you on the formal agenda at this time. All right. That's it for the first item on the agenda. The next two items on the agenda are executive sessions. So we have two different executive sessions. So I'm just going to note that the first one is pursuant to ORS 192.660 sub 2 sub H. If you're not here as staff member to support that item, then you'll need to leave the room. Before we move on to the second executive session, we'll move out of executive session before calling the second one, and we'll send someone out in the hallway to let you know when we're on the second topic. So if you're here for the second topic, we'll let you know. So, Kevin,